In every situation, I ask myself, WWSCBFBBD. What would Super Colossal Big Fat Boss Baby do?
Even though Boss Baby is generally considered a kid-friendly movie, there were some scenes we noticed that made us pause and wonder if they had kids in mind when they wrote the scene. And we're going to be taking a look at some of the wildest scenes on Boss Baby.
They fired me! And took away my special formula.
This particular one made a couple of parents raise their eyebrows, and some might have even gone to the length of putting their hands over their children's eyes. We are talking about the opening scene where babies are being transported on a conveyor belt. We see Boss Baby, unlike the rest of the babies, being upside down on the conveyor belt and almost having his pacifier inserted in the wrong hole. Luckily for him, he was able to get back in the right position quickly. While we think that the intention of this scene was to portray Boss Baby as one who doesn't stick with the status quo, the message in the undercurrent referenced something only adults could understand.
Meet your new baby brother.
Baby, what?
Every child wants to believe that they are special, and their parents would do special things for them. At least that's what Tim thought about a song his parents always sang to him. So imagine his shock when he hears Boss Baby singing the exact same song. And when Tim confronts Boss Baby, he tells him the song was sung by the Beatles and not his parents. While most children might see this scene as something they would do if they are in the same boat as Tim, parents and adults could not help but laugh at this scene. There is even an interesting theory about this in psychology called child egocentrism, where a child thinks they are the center of the world, and to realize that it isn't true can definitely hurt their ego. Tim had clearly not been a fan of Boss Baby from the moment he came to the house, and felt hurt to hear his special song on the lips of one he considers his rival. But the reference to the Beatles was definitely something only parents would get.
Hushy baby, Tootsie. It goes by many names, but through its power, you will know the truth.
Boss Baby has gotten his cover blown and has gotten hit by Tim's incessant questions. To get Tim off his back, he decided to come clean and take him to Baby Corp. On our two favorite siblings' trip to Baby Corp, we are hit with yet another scene that really makes one wonder what the directors were thinking. To get into Baby Corp, one has to suck on the pacifier and get a taste of the weird Baby Corp formula. This scene would have gone well if not for Boss Baby screaming in his ears that he should suck it, and when Tim refuses to suck it, Boss Baby keeps saying, "I need you to suck it." If you remove the visuals of the scene and leave it with just the words, your mind will definitely create a whole different picture. This was definitely one scene parents were not a fan of.
Don't embarrass yourself, Templeton. I can still see you.
So this is where babies come from?
What version of this story did you know as a child? We're pretty sure everyone has heard a version of the story involving the storks or the mailman or magic fairies or some other version that is far away from the truth. In this scene, we get to see our two favorite siblings bond over something they both find disgusting. At Baby Corp, Boss Baby gives Tim a rundown of their operations and how babies get sent to families. Tim found this really fascinating and to be a much better version of the one he knew. The one involving a man and a woman and the hole in between that only adults should know. Wasn't Tim too young to actually know the true details? Or maybe he didn't actually know the true details, seeing he didn't exactly voice it out, but whispered it into Boss Baby's ears. We can't really make out what was said, but from the look of disgust on their faces, our assumption might not be far from the truth.
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating. It drains it.
This scene involves content definitely not made for kids. We get the whole adult in a baby body feel that Boss Baby does, but for a movie that is for kids, this might have been a bit too much. In this scene, Tim and Boss Baby hitch a limo ride to Vegas, and this limo is filled with women who were scantily dressed. But that's not the issue. When Boss Baby and Tim get down from the limo, we see Boss Baby covered with not one, not two, but several kiss marks. And then he goes, "Chick dig babies." We know this scene was intended to be funny, but I doubt if the children actually caught this joke and if the adults who caught the joke found it funny. But that's not all. We also see him tasting something from a party glass, but immediately retches because it tastes awful and says people in Long Island do not know how to make an iced tea. But really? Iced tea?
Oh, you want this?
One thing was clear. He was the boss.
There is always something interesting about movies or artworks that give nods to other movies, real-life characters, or just some other pop culture references. This brings to mind the line, "Life imitates art," or in this case, art imitates life. There were several pop culture references in Boss Baby. However, many of them flew over the heads of children and were caught only by adults. There was the really funny scene involving several Elvis Presley lookalikes at the airport, which was something only adults would have caught. There was also the reference to Mary Poppins when Boss Baby and Tim were getting chased down by the fake babysitter, and Boss Baby referred to the thug as Scary Poppins, a clear reference to Mary Poppins. And when the thug flies and lands with the umbrella, many adults who watched Mary Poppins were immediately transported back to that world. There was also the toy wizard who quotes Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings. There was also the heist scene, which gives an homage to Indiana Jones' Raiders of the Lost Ark. We also see the Daredevil reference when Tim pictures himself as Knievel as the boys jump over a moving train. It just seems this movie was hidden with a lot of Easter eggs made just for adults.
Not again! Come on, I need you!
I'm back! I'm back!
This is so much not a scene not made for children, but more along the lines of something only adults could understand. It might also be a bit confusing for children. The whole battle in the movie revolves around the fear that people would come to prefer puppies to actual babies, and this creates the whole conflict in the movie. While this works for the movie, adult audiences who like puppies are not so keen on having babies might have felt a bit attacked by it. I don't think it's a case of either or. People can like babies and still want puppies. People can also prefer just puppies to babies. And people can want just babies and not puppies. There is no battle here. Well, this was something only adult audiences could get, given the fact that many adults will fall into any of the three categories. For children, this might have been a bit confusing because why choose between a baby and a puppy when you can have both?
If I don't find out what that new puppy is and fast, not only will I not get that promotion, I could get fired!
For someone who is meant to be a baby, he definitely never acts like one. Okay, we get it. He is meant to be a boss baby, but he didn't seem like a lovable baby. Instead, it reminded the adult viewers of their horrible bosses. There was a point where Boss Baby bit a little girl on her arm and the girl cried out. And what do we see next? We see him throwing dollar bills in her face, and the little girl conveniently and surprisingly becomes joyful. No doubt this was meant to be a funny scene, but children barely caught the humor in this scene, and the adults definitely did not find it funny. The original book on which the movie was made was actually written for parents and had an underlying sweetness and a light whimsy that would make it appealing to all ages. But the movie might have strayed a bit away from this. But overall, it was enjoyable for most kids.
This Templeton is first class.
Why is it empty?
No one can afford it.
We've come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comments, and if you think there was something we missed, you can also drop that in the comments. Don't forget to share, and if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, why don't you click on the subscribe button so you don't miss out on other amazing videos.
That way?
Okay. Right from the start, he was yelling at people, ordering everyone around.